Hi, my name is Andrea. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm talking about the challenges of being a business owner. I wanted to talk about this topic because there are a lot of articles and videos out there that talk about the joys of being a business owner. There are a lot of people telling you how to jump into business, and right now, to be honest, it's very glamorous. It's a glamorous thing to be your own boss and own your own business, but not a lot of people talk about the things that are challenging about it. So today I wanted to break down some of those walls and to dive into 4 challenges that I personally struggle with as a business owner. Before we dive in, I wanted to give a little bit of background on how I got to the place I am today. Back in 2014, I started my freelance social media business, and today I have more of a social media boutique of sorts. My name is still on the business, of course, but I do have employees that help me do a lot of the day-to-day work, all the little things that go into being a social media manager. Now, when I first started a business, I was so lucky and fortunate to have my husband help me out those first couple of months of business, almost the first whole year of business. And not a lot of people talk about the support that's needed to start your own business. Even one like social media management, which doesn't have a lot of upfront costs, still has some risk involved with starting that business. The first thing I want to talk about is being the boss. A lot of people look at being the boss as like, oh, it's this awesome thing. You get to work for yourself. There's no one to, boss you around. You're it. But that is actually one of the hardest parts about being a business owner, is that you are the last stop. So even if you're in management, even if you're in the corporate life, there's always someone else to turn to. There's rules already in place. You didn't create those rules. Whereas when you create your own business, like I did, there are no rules. You make up the rules, and a lot of times you make the wrong rules, and you are it. You are the last stop in the line of defense. Basically, everything is on you. And as someone who takes that very personally, I take everything personally. That is one of the hardest parts about being a business owner, is that if somebody doesn't like something, or if somebody doesn't pay the invoice, that's your fault. Nobody else's but yours, and you have to deal with it, and you have to handle it and be in charge as a business owner. The next thing I want to talk about is having employees. Now, not all businesses have employees. I didn't have employees starting out. In fact, my first full-time employee we just celebrated her 1 year last month, which is awesome. So I've had my first full-time employee only for a year, if that kind of puts things into perspective for you. And it is hard. Now, I say she's my first full-time employee, but I did have other people working with me before then, contract workers, and since then, lots of contract workers. And that whole hiring and firing aspect, and like owning your own business, like I'm the boss and I'm also HR, is very hard. I would not recommend it. I always tell people, like, when they're like, oh, I want to start my own business, my first thing is like, just go get a job. It's hard. It's hard. Having employees not only is hard to manage them, but they rely on you. So if you have a bad month in business, that doesn't matter. You're still responsible for their paycheck. And that's one of the hardest parts, I have these people who depend on me and the success of my business in order to feed their families. The third thing that I struggle with in being a business owner is work-life balance. So people look at this one of two ways. Some people look at it as like, oh, you can watch Netflix in the middle of the day and just like go and get your nails done, or, make doctor's appointments in the middle of the day because nobody's your boss. And yes, that's true. But how I like to look at it is that it's hard for me to stop working. It's hard for me to set that boundary and like, this is my work time and this is time for myself, because as a business owner, I feel like everything I'm not doing towards my work is time that's not productive. And while sometimes that may be a good way to look at things, we still have to set aside time for ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves mentally and physically. And one of my intentions for this year was to do just that. And let me tell you, it is so hard. I set hours for myself. These are the hours that I work. I even limited the amount of meetings that I have during a week. So these are the amount of meetings that I have during a week. This is the hours that I work. I still end up working way over. I still end up making exceptions like, yes, I'll take another meeting, no problem. But I do think I am seeing a slight shift in the way that I think about my business, in that I can have a life outside of it. And it's very important as business owners that we do that. We have to take care of our body. We have to, work out, especially if you're in a business like mine where I sit at home all day. I literally don't move from this chair all day. I have to be very purposeful, intentional about taking care of my body and moving at some point during the day, eating healthily, taking a break and not staring at the screen all the time, little things like that. It's very hard to make that work-life balance, but you've got to be strict with yourself. You've got to tell yourself what's important and hold yourself to those kind of boundaries that you set for yourself. Otherwise, people will walk all over them. You will walk all over them, and you'll push the boundaries all the time. The last thing that I want to talk about that is a hard thing to talk about at all in being a business owner is money. Not a lot of people like talking about money. Money is a sensitive topic. We don't really share like how much we make. We don't share how much we pay people. And being at the end of the line, being at the top is hard to deal with money. Now, there are some great aspects to being a business owner, one of which is that I can directly see the actions that I do that make money, but I also can see the actions that I do that don't make money. There are some things in business that we just have to pay for that don't directly make us more money. Tools, even things like social media, like listing your business, being active, networking, being present. None of those things directly make you money. So sometimes it's really hard to justify spending time on some of those things. But something that goes with that is the fact that if I don't do actions, I don't see money coming in. So I know exactly what I do. I know exactly what I need to do to make money, and if I don't do those things, it doesn't happen. And so as a business owner, you can see like the streams of revenue, where they come into and where you need to spend your time. So most people think, oh, you work at home, you have all this freedom to like sleep in and watch Netflix. I think I said that already, but it is not that way. So if I'm having a bad day and I decide, oh, I'm going to sleep in and watch Netflix, I can directly see how it affects my business. When you're an employee, like I'll give you an example. When I was an employee at the movie theater, I worked in a movie theater for 5 years, so I always use that example because I love it. And I loved it there. It was a great first job. Or it was actually my third job, but anyways, it was a good job for a high school student and college student. Sometimes I would sneak away to a movie theater or spend extra long in the bathroom just because I didn't feel like working that day. And I feel like we've all done this at some point. And you still do it as a business owner, but it hurts more because you see directly how it affects your revenue streams. I can see directly if I don't spend enough time on this, or if I don't complete tasks, I lose clients. It's just that easy. Whereas when you're in the movie theater, you still get that hourly check if you slump off for a day. You may get a write-up, but you still can kind of finagle your way around it because you're not the one who's responsible for it, and you still get your money. Whereas a business owner, you may not get that money. So those are my challenges that I personally have in business. If you're going through the same thing, I'd love to continue the conversation with you in the comment section below to talk about running your own business, whether it's YouTube as a business or being a freelancer in some service-based industry or selling products or any sort of business, whatever business you're in. I'd love to chat more about the challenges that you have, even as an employee in a business space. And we can continue the conversation as well. Also, don't forget to follow me on Snapchat. I've been snapping a lot lately, and I have fun over there, and I'll follow you back and watch your snaps as well. So I'll see you on Snapchat and in the next video. Talk to you later. Bye.